What's goody, Hot Breathiverse? Welcome back to Hot Breath. I am your host, comedian Joel Byers, and as you know, our mission here is to cultivate the next generation of self-made comics, and our guest today is a big part of that mission. During the pandemic, we started this amazing online community of comics all over the world. She was in there consistently winning our joke writing contests, and now she has since moved from starting in Florida to now in Denver, where she owns her own studio, produces her own content. She's on the road. She is what we're talking about when we say self-made comic. And I'm so grateful. I'm not going to cry, but this is like, she's in Hot Breath, and now she's developed and blossomed into her own self-made comedian, which is what Hot Breath is all about. So please welcome Morgan Gallo to the show.
Wow. I wish everyone introduced me like that. That was such a big bro moment. Oh,
it was
my
just
God.
cool because I remember seeing you in the community, and you were always writing, and you were just super funny, and then you really developed in the Florida scene very quickly. So just to see where you are now, it was just cool to see you in Hot Breath kind of incubating, and then which is the whole goal of what Hot Breath is. So you're like a living success of that.
Thanks. Oh my God. Yeah. I feel like success is a strong word, but I appreciate
there's levels to this.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're doing cool things.
Thanks, man. Yeah, that's so crazy. I started doing Hot Breath in the summer of 2020, because I remember that was when I started doing stand-up, and then I think I listened to the podcast first, and then I might have found the writing group, because I was so desperate to just learn anything that I just was all right. And I started doing that writing group at work. I would close my office door and I would just pretend I was working on something, but I'd actually be writing one-liners, just like a weirdo. Yeah, that was a very fun time of my life.
Oh, well, I'm glad you can look back and think it was positive. That's good.
Yeah, of course.
And now you've popped. What happened?
Do you think so? I don't know, man.
You got these followers now. What?
It's a lot of creepy men, you know.
It's a lot of creepy men.
It's a lot of dudes that just want to take me on a date or lick my toes or something.
They'll send you messages saying, "I want to lick your toes."
Yeah, I have a series I do, a very unofficial series called "What's in My DMs." And I've done it 5 times now. And I basically do it when I'm on the road and I'm bored, and I just look through all my DMs and I just screenshot the weirdest ones and I just read them out loud. And it's turned into something that people are oh yeah, that Boston guy, the Boston booty sniffer, because he messages me consistently. So it's
Is that a real person?
Thing. Yeah.
Boston booty sniffer?
Yeah, he always proposes a way. He's if you ever come to Boston, I just want to let you know that if you're in the area, I will gladly pay you to sniff your booty hole. And I'm this is not real. It's not real. But the guy is serious. I'm this person is just trying to be stupid, but I'm also this is, what if I go to Boston and someone comes up to me and is hey, it's me. You know what I mean? I don't know.
There's the Boston Strangler and now the Boston booty
the Boston
sniffer.
Booty Sniffer, dude. He's all up in the DMs. Yeah.
Is that your weirdest one? What?
No, I've gotten all kinds of weird stuff. It's just a lot of guys who just want to be creepy to girls. I don't think it has anything to do with me being a comedian. It's just that they see that I post a lot of videos, and so they see I'm active, and so they just DM me I want to take you on a date, or I think that you're really pretty, or they comment on a very specific body part. It is what it is, man. It's part of the grind. Ladies, if you want to be a stand-up comedian, be prepared to be lusted over constantly.
I can't even imagine. I get roasted. Michael Cera, people will call me. Fix It Felix, but no one wants to sniff my booty hole. I feel weird saying that.
Yeah, exactly. Think about how weird it is to read it. Yeah, it's an interesting life I have, but comedy's cool.
Comedy's cool. Yeah. Other than that.
Yeah, other than that.
How did you? It was weird because it's just all of a sudden I looked at your account one day and you had over 100,000 followers, and I was like,
oh really?
What happened? Yeah, I guess I'll check in periodically, but I just checked in one time.
Yeah, I know.
It's
it's not like you're looking at someone's following all the time.
I'm not sliding in your DMs or anything.
Yeah. I think I've been working really consistently on my social media, because when I started comedy, I was already working in marketing. I have a degree in PR.
Oh, okay.
And so my whole like kind of post-college adventures were working as a social media manager for several different companies. And by the time I started stand-up, I had been doing that for a while. So I kind of understood what it meant to like gain a social following, because I was managing accounts that had, you know, tens of thousands of followers because it was, you know, a college, a hotel, whatever. And so I just kind of like saw the value in posting a lot of stand up. And I started, what I started doing was I saved a bunch of money. I bought a camera. I bought a tripod, I bought a microphone, and I started just taking it to every show and filming everything, even if it was terrible. And then trying to find the best, you know, 30-second, 60-second clip and just started posting. And I didn't really have a strategy. I just thought, well, I'm a comedian. I do this. People see my jokes. I'm not burning material because it's not like I'm like, you know, a year, 2 years in. Like, no one cares if they see this joke online and then they see it at a showcase at a marina bar. Like, and so, yeah, I just started posting and things kind of started to like gain traction. I had a few videos that went viral, and then that just kept happening. So I don't know. Sometimes I just feel like I got lucky. You know what I mean? Because so many comedians post all the time, and I feel like in the green room we're always talking about what's your social media strategy? Oh, I post at 2 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I use these hashtags, or I don't use hashtags, and I think it's just consistency over anything else.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking now. Is how do I blow up? I don't know.
I mean, I really don't. I don't know, dude.
Tell me your secrets.
Right? I've tried so many different things, and for me, it was never about like trying to blow up. I just wanted to create something online that looked legitimate, so that if people wanted to book me, they were like, "Oh, this girl's serious." Like, I had a few mentors in Florida that were like, "Hey, why don't you have a website? You know, why don't you post your dates that you're going and doing these showcases?" Even though it wasn't like, you know, even now it's like I'm not, you know, this big headliner. I'm not like touring. I'm like opening for people and I love it. So it was more just like, why don't you just tell people what you're doing, because you're at a point now where there's no stakes in it. Like, you're not trying to sell tickets. So just like have fun with it. And I just started doing that. And it made me look more legit the more that I did. I had a website, then I had a link tree. I started doing posters for myself. I started doing clips all the time. I got more headshots done. So it kind of just made me look a little bit more like a real comedian, I guess.
Oh, yeah. And I guess if we post something and feel like, oh, this is the one that goes viral, it's almost like it helps to have the intention of just creating something for the fun of it and not trying to get something out of it beyond just enjoying the creation of it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when I post, I was like, this better be it, or this is the one, and then
and
I delete it and
I feel
repost
like
it.
that more now than before when I didn't have any followers at all. Like, I feel more like that now. I'm like, shit, now I have to like consistently get views, you know, or else someone's gonna be like, well, she's canceled, like she's not doing well anymore. I don't know, it's weird. I think social media takes a little bit of the fun out of comedy sometimes, but I recognize the importance of it in the industry now, so it's like this balance of just trying to do it.
Well, what did you learn working in social media? Like, what are the skills of social media? You know, like you seem to have helped other brands build, so we're all our own brands now. So, like, are there specific things?
I think just being true to what yourself is or what the brand is. Like, for example, I worked at a private college for 3 years, and that's where I started stand up in St. Augustine. And I just like really, when I was on the accounts, I just always was thinking like, what does this college, or what does the voice of this college sound like? What does it look like? What are the colors? You know, what kind of voice does it have on stories versus what's the voice on regular posts or captions? And you just kind of have to do that as a social media manager. I mean, the best examples of it are like the Wendy's Twitter account, right? Like, the person that runs it, or the people that run it, like, they know what Wendy's sounds like. They know exactly what it talks like. They know exactly what it has to say, what kind of vocab it has, and they lean into it, and it makes it hilarious because it's consistently funny. It's consistently like snarky. So I think for me, I just kind of started like thinking about who do I want to be as a comedian, and then went from there. And it constantly evolves. You know, I'm only 3 years in, so I don't really know who I am.
So
I don't know what my
wild.
voice is still. So at first I was like, ooh, I'm pink and purple, and my whole profile is pink and purple
Right.
highlights, and I use these hashtags. And now I'm like, I care less about that, and I care more about, like, what does the video look like? Is the video good quality? If it's not 4K, I don't use it. I use the same font for all my captions. I pretty much use the same hashtags for all my videos. Like, so, but it evolves. I tried different things at different times. So yeah.
3 years. I didn't realize it was. But
I guess 3.5.
But
Three and a half.
So you started.
Literally July of 2020.
That's incredible. So you started in Hot Breath.
Mm-hmm.
That was your first. I should have looked back. I should have walked down memory lane before this, because I know we've had a lot of interaction, especially during the pandemic. I should have gone back and looked, because I'm sure there was a lot going on there.
I basically, like, the pandemic happened. I got sent home to work from home. I FaceTimed with a friend, and I made him laugh a bunch, and he was like, you should try stand-up comedy. And I looked up stand-up comedy classes in Jacksonville, Florida, and I found one. I went, I learned how to write a joke, and then I started, like, just Googling anything and everything, and I bought, like, the stand-up comedy Bible.
Mm-hmm.
I bought, like, How to Kill in Comedy by Steve North. I listened to your podcast, and then I think it was the podcast notes that led me to the Facebook group, to then led me to do, like, the word of the day, and then I would do Zoom sessions with people in there. I started listening to Breaking Down Bits with Drew Jordan, and like, I just started, like, kind of diving in. And then, yeah, it was probably like the fall of 2020 where I was, like, really, like, doing word of the day every day. I was, like, in the bathroom checking the live stream. Like, I was in it, dude. I was in it.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, I did over 400 days of live streaming. And
yeah,
then,
that was crazy.
And then had a breakdown and didn't
yeah,
do it
I don't
anymore.
blame you. That was so much. And there was a point
there was
where
one I, like, cried.
Yeah, there was a point where it was like, okay, the pandemic is, like, not over, but it's like things are happening again.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, maybe we can ease up on the live streaming and, like, go out and actually do an open mic. I don't know. That would be cool.
You seem to have really excelled in the Florida scene very quickly. Like, you seem to be booking cool shows. I remember seeing
Thanks. Yeah.
very quickly there. What do you attribute to that? Just DMs?
Yeah.
This is people wanting to book your feet for the show.
I mean, it's hard. I always have a hard time answering that question, because, like, I want to say it was just because I worked hard.
And you're funny.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah, you definitely
but, like,
always were. Yeah.
it is tricky, because I think a lot of the time, you know, there is a little bit of, like, being a female comic and being one of a few, because I noticed in Florida that there weren't nearly as many female comics as there are, like, in Atlanta or Denver or San Diego or literally anywhere else. Like, and I think it's because Florida is a very tough state to do comedy in for anyone. And so, especially for women, when we're kind of faced with this, like, weird energy of, like, all right, I'm constantly in front of older people, I'm in front of a lot of white people, I'm in front of a lot of conservative people. How do I navigate this without them immediately being like, oh, there's a woman on stage, I'm not into this, or oh, she's a woman, she's going to talk about her period, or whatever. So I just pushed through the bullshit, and I just kind of was like, whatever, I don't really care. Like, I'm just going to do my jokes, and if you don't like me, then don't book me. And I asked a lot of questions. I went to shows that I wasn't booked on just to, like, hang out with the headliner and be like, hey, like, how'd you write that joke, and stuff like that. And then I got lucky that a few, like, local headliners kind of took me under their wing and started just being like, if you want to do a guest spot on my show, do this, or submit to this person. And I started realizing, I was like, oh, I got to get myself on tape so that I can submit to someone. So I filmed, like, a 5-minute set on my cell phone and then started submitting that. And then that got me into my first festival, weirdly enough. And then I did the festival, and then the tape that I got at the festival was even better, and I started using that to submit. So it all kind of, like, built upon itself. and I was also just insane, and I was willing to drive 4 hours to do 5 minutes, which a lot of people are not willing to do, and I completely understand. But I was just so into it that I was like, nothing is gonna stop me. I drove to Miami and back in one night just to like do a spot because I just wanted to do it. So I think people realized that I was willing to do it, so they were like, all right, come do it.
You were just like persistent with it, and that really paid off. Because
Yeah.
Miami, that's the whole length of the state, right?
Yeah, it was like a 5-hour drive. And I don't know. Would I do it now? Probably not.
Right.
But like, I just wanted so badly to get funnier and to be seen and to show people that I could do it. So it was worth it to me.
So what made you take the leap to Denver now, which is a great scene?
What a great question, Joel. So
thank you. I've done a few of these in my day.
I grew up in Colorado, and I went to school there and everything, and my parents retired to Florida, so I got a job out of college. I hated it, and I followed them to Florida, got a job, started working at the college, and then started comedy. So then after maybe like 2 years of doing comedy, I was like, okay, I'm living in this small town right below Jacksonville. I feel like I've exhausted what I can do here. It seems like there's a lot of opportunity in Orlando and Tampa, kind of more central Florida. So I had the brilliant idea of moving to Orlando, Florida, which no one else thinks is a brilliant idea. I'll say that. And I moved there, and I immediately hated it. And not because the scene wasn't great. It's just Orlando is the armpit of the state. It is truly the dumpster fire of Florida. And people from Orlando know that. Like, it's not a hot take, believe me. And I met my boyfriend who was living in Denver because I actually was lucky enough that a Florida comic took me to Denver to open for him. And I was like, hell yeah, I haven't been home since I started stand-up. This is going to be really cool. And weirdly enough, my boyfriend was photographing one of the shows I was on. So we met. It was really cool. He and I started talking like over DMs or whatever. And then I moved to Orlando, and he came down to visit me, and we like started dating long distance, which was so hard. But I kept going back to Denver to like see him and do comedy. And I was like, wow, I miss home. Denver has a great comedy scene. I had no idea there was comedy in Denver. And I was in Orlando just unhappy for like 8 months, and I was traveling a lot outside of Florida just so I didn't have to be home. So I was like, all right, you know what? I'm just gonna move to Denver, and I'm gonna jump into the scene there. And I knew a lot of people already because I'd been going back and forth. And so I moved there, and then it was the best decision I've ever made because I love Colorado. I love the people there. The scene is, in my opinion, like one of the best scenes in the country.
Definitely.
And definitely a step up in terms of like stage time. So yeah, I just was like, this is a no-brainer. I'm gonna go home.
And then you just so happen to start a studio. Like, you're very it seems like a big theme is you're very proactive every step of the way. Like, you're gonna put your mind to something and you're gonna do it.
Yeah, that's called ADHD.
That was called ambition.
I have ADHD
call it ambition.
So severely that I'm like, I'm going to start a studio, but then like tomorrow I'm also going to like start a podcast. And then the next day I'm going to fucking go to a festival in Rhode Island. And then, you know what I mean? I just can't stop working. My boyfriend owned Dude IDK. That was his media company before he met me. And then he's a photographer, videographer, producer. He's worked at comedy clubs before. He produces for comedy clubs. He produces for comedians. Like, he's all around been in the industry longer than I have. And so when we started dating, I was very interested in like helping him and kind of being a part of it because that's also my background. So when I moved to Denver, we had been tinkering with the idea of getting a workspace. And it was just a workspace. It was like, what if we got a place where we didn't have to work from home and we could just make it like our workplace so that we can separate like the personal life from the work. And then because we're both kind of workaholics, we were like, let's make it a studio.
Yeah.
Let's fucking do podcasts and live shows and sketches and paint the wall. I don't know. And so we got a studio. We were very lucky. We got a cool studio. We got, all this stuff made. There's a bunch of artwork on the walls from comedians, from other people. We have a huge neon sign that says Dude IDK. We have like curtains everywhere. Like, we have photo paper hanging from the wall. It's really become like a creative, collaborative space. And I have to give a lot of credit to Nick because he's the one with the vision. I'm just kind of like the person that's like, well, maybe what if we do this? Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he's like the big picture guy. So yeah, we opened the studio and we just started slowly with a few podcasts, and then we started producing live shows, and now we have like Don't Tell in there. We have the Gateway show. We have a few comedians that do their own like personal shows in there. Some people come just to headline and rent out the space for their own, like they're just renting it out for themselves. And it's become really fun for us. It's kind of nice to have a creative outlet that's not my own stand-up. You know?
Yeah, something else to scratch that itch.
Yeah.
And a great networking place too.
Oh,
People
God,
coming
yeah.
into that, yeah.
Yeah, that's a really big part of the reason why I love it, is being able to have like big comedians come in. And like during High Plains Comedy Festival, we had a lot of comedians in town that wanted to record an episode of their podcast. So we had All Fantasy Everything in there. We had Sam Talent's podcast in there. We had a bunch of people who were just like, hey, we just want to film like a random episode interviewing each other. And they just did that. So it's been really cool to meet people, and they're like, oh yeah, Morgan, you're part of Dude IDK, and oh, you do stand up, cool. So
wow.
Yeah.
In 3 years.
Yeah. It's weird because I don't think that's like I feel like that's an appropriate amount of time. Part of me is like, I'm like late in the game. Like I got to get it together.
Yeah, I think that is such a new school mentality of that sense of urgency. Like, but I just interviewed Adam Mueller, New York comic, and he's self-produced 2 comedy specials in 7 years of doing comedy, which for like an older comedian, that's like unheard of. It's like, what do you mean? It's like at least 10 years before you do anything.
Yeah.
But the new way is literally you have an idea and you run with it and don't hold back.
It's kind of interesting because I have talked to a lot of like what I call like OG comics, you know, people that have been doing it 10, 15, 20 years. And obviously the landscape has changed drastically. But it's interesting to hear them be like, yeah, it's frustrating because they feel like now the game has changed in a way where it doesn't favor the people who have been putting in the time and work. It just favors people who are like, they have that virality, they have that like stuff that can go viral really quickly. And I get it. I mean, comedy clubs and networks and platforms, they're looking for what they can make money off of.
Of course.
So if someone has 1 million followers, but they only have 5 minutes of stand up, they're like, yeah, we'll book you at the Improv if you can sell it out. You know what I mean? But it is interesting because I see both ends of it. Like I when I was in Florida and even now, like I valued the road so much because I was like, I just want to get better at stand up. But then when I was home, I really valued social media because I was like, this is also a very important part of the new way to do it. So it's kind of tough. Because for me, I'm 28 and I feel like I wish I started comedy when I was 18 because I'd be so much better now. I'd already be 10 years in. Like I started when I was 24 and I feel like that was old in a weird way, which is weird though, because in Florida, a lot of people were really young. And now that I'm in Denver, a lot of people are in their 30s. And I'm actually the young one. So I don't know, it's weird. It's very weird. And you're probably looking at me like, shut the fuck up, you toddler.
What? No, definitely not. I mean, I started senior year of college, so that would be like 22, I guess. So a few years before you did. But, you know, I've been doing it 14 years now as of 2 days ago. So
congrats.
Yeah, it is a weird thing of like 14. I mean, I'm grateful, but it is like, all right, what are you doing? Like because I feel like that is the old comedian way of just like grind on stage, which stage time, you have to get on stage, you have to do all that. But there's that old school mentality of like grind it on stage, grind it on the road, sleep in comedy condos with like 3 other people and like all this.
Survive on Cliff Bars.
Yeah, I did that for a whole week.
I know you did.
Yeah. I ate nothing but Cliff Bars for a week one time.
God, dude.
For the road.
That's so bad.
It was very bad.
Yeah.
And they were expired because
They're always expired. Have you ever eaten a Cliff Bar that wasn't expired?
But my job in that time was I was refilling mini bars at a hotel. And my job was to take out the expired stuff and refill it with not.
Nice.
So I was just pocketing all the expired
why
stuff.
not?
So I had a lunch bag Or a grocery bag full of just expired
Amazing.
Cliff Bars just for a week.
Amazing.
That was amazing.
But that's like the shit you do to be a comedian. Like a lot. Isn't it funny how people think that it's like so glamorous? Like my friends think that I get paid like handsomely to like host at a random club or whatever, and I'm like, no, like I actually paid to be here. Like I actually spent money to come to Kansas City or whatever and do this gig, and I got chicken tenders in return. So yeah.
And sometimes the club is like, we'll give you 50% off food. And I was like, oh, thanks.
Yeah.
You're paying me $50 and I get half off of your chicken.
Right?
Thank you.
It's like, all right, I'll just go fish out of the trash can outside instead.
So that's why the internet is the wave, and building all of the leverage to when you do go on the road, you are selling tickets, you do set your own terms. So that's where I'm at right now is like, I've been doing it 14 years. I've developed as a comedian, and now what now? How do I actually make this, like, I mean, it's my full-time job, but, I would like to make it to where my wife is like, oh, cool, I don't have to work if I don't want to, or I can do whatever,
For sure.
So not saying if she wants to work, go for it. Yeah, I'm just saying giving.
Joel's not trying to get canceled.
No.
Women shouldn't work.
Empowerment, women, I love you. I grew up with 4 sisters. I was basically raised by cats. So
there you go.
I love women. I'm all about it. So that was a joke that didn't hit. Okay.
It's okay. I got it.
It hits on stage.
Yeah,
I'm running bits now. No, it doesn't. I haven't done it on stage, but it was a thought. All right. I'm quitting comedy. I'm going to go back to refilling
that's a funny joke.
mini bars. The raised by cats.
Yeah, you could talk about what kind of cats each sitter was. We have an orange cat.
Oh, yeah.
We have like a brindle cat, a black cat.
And maybe how they raised me, like now I use a litter box, or what if I were raised by cats, what would that look like? Type
Exactly.
Deal. Hairballs.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's why I have this haircut.
This is why you should join the Hot Breath Writing Room. Ding. In case you haven't already.
Yes.
This was an ad sponsored by Morgan Gallo.
Yes. Oh, and patreon.com/hotbreathpod.
Oh, hell you. That's awesome.
We just launched that. So
I want to get a Patreon. I just don't know what I would do on there.
Yeah, I've just had so many people reach out with gratitude about how helpful the show has been.
Yeah.
And like just hours and hours and hours of free comedy education.
Yeah, I will say it is a lot of work for, like, you're doing God's work. You know what I mean?
So that's
why the
Patreon exists.
I don't know if you'll remember this, but there was a time when Spotify Wrapped first started coming out. There was a time that I got that was Hot Breath was my #1 podcast, and I had listened to 8 hours in one day of the podcast. I was a psychotic person.
That's amazing.
I don't even know what I was doing that day. Like, I might have been road tripping or something, because I listened to 8 hours of the podcast in one day.
Wow. Thank you. I love hearing that.
Yeah. I was so, like, desperate for any information.
No, inspired, you mean. You were so inspired by the show.
Yeah.
Not desperate.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
I do love hearing that when people are like, oh, I heard one and then listened to like 50 episodes. It's like people just dive into it.
Yeah. Well, and also, it also helped me like learn more about who the comedians are, because when you first start comedy, I feel like a lot of people are just like, oh, I just like love Dave Chappelle, or I just like love who Bernie Mac was. You know what I mean? And it's like there are so many lesser known comedians that deserve that same accolade, but you just don't know, because you see the Netflix, specials, you think of, the famous people from the 90s, like you may not know like people who are actually kind of hitting right now or about to hit or whatever.
Yeah, it's cool. Like, and because I've been doing it so long that I've caught, like, Mark Norman example. I interviewed him very early on.
Yeah, and you've had him on a few episodes,
had him on
right?
3 times now.
Yeah.
So it's been cool to kind of track his career. Dusty Slay, the same. This is the first, and then we're gonna get to see the growth from here.
This is a very full
cool.
circle moment for me. I was telling my boyfriend this morning, like, that it's very funny to like be talking with you on this podcast after being so like obsessed with it for a while. You know what I mean? It's cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm pinching myself.
Yeah.
This is just a love fest.
I know, right?
Well,
it's just comedy.
Well, riddle me this, social media expert. How could this show, there's an engaged audience, like the community is super engaged. I mean, every time I go to a festival, people are coming up to me and all that. So like the people that find it love it. How would you start to use social media to really start to build the following, and start to build that online clout, I guess, or just stroke my ego and be like, but I want the numbers that show the people.
I mean, I guess I would have to see like kind of what you're putting out now, because I mean, I think that everything is kind of subjective on social media. Like there's no one clear-cut answer, but I do think consistency is like the biggest key, unfortunately. So already being consistent is like a good thing to have, and then just like really letting people know that this is like something to learn from, because I guess, and you would be able to answer this more than I would, like your audience really is people who want to get into comedy.
The core, like I'll like veteran comedians listen to it. I'll hear from them, but I think the core audience are aspiring comedians or like 0 just starting to like 5 years. That's probably like the heart and soul.
Yeah, because
all ranges will listen. But that's the heart of it.
Yeah, because I think that's like, that would be a great way to kind of segment what you're doing, because when you have like the really big comedians like Mark Norman, like Shane Torres, like when you have people on and you're kind of like, what's your biggest advice? And they're like, write every day, don't drink as much, whatever, right. Take care of yourself. Like it's almost like you want them to be able to say like, hey, talk to someone who's like 5 years in. Don't talk to someone who's about to start comedy. What would you say to the 5-year comedian who just bombed an audition they had, who's been on the road, who's lost their voice, who's tired of their material? What specific thing do you have to say to that person? And then clip that up, because I need to watch that.
Yeah. Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, what would you say to the person who's thinking about getting on stage and hasn't taken the leap yet?
Well, That's a good question, because I took a comedy class, and although it was helpful, it also burned down in flames, and because the guy was a jackass.
Yeah,
and he got ran out of town.
That's why I tell anyone who's taking a class, they can be very helpful. Just make sure that it's being taught by someone that is like
a good
worth
person.
Learning from.
Yeah,
like we have online classes and workshops as well if y'all want to just learn from hot breath.
I think. Because for me, like, I wasn't able to just go to an open mic and start talking. Like, I'm a research gal. I really have to feel like I have a background before I do something, because the anxiety would just eat away at me. So I would say, like, do some research on like what it is to do an open mic. Look at like how to craft a 5-minute set, or even just how to write a joke, because what I did first before I did anything was I just wrote like a stream of consciousness of like, I think what had happened that day. And I was like, maybe I'll just talk about this. And then I took a comedy class and I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. And then I started doing the writing room, and I realized, oh no, like each joke is its own little journey that you have to take and like figure out, what is the setup? What is the punchline? What is it, a double entendre? Is it a misdirect? Is it a power of 3? Or even if it's just a funny thought, whatever it is. And you have to like individually work on each one until they're solid enough. So I would say if you're thinking about getting on stage, definitely like do a little bit of research, go to a writer's room, or even just go to an open mic and just don't sign up, and just kind of ask around like, hey, how did you get into this? And everyone's going to have a different story. A lot of dudes are just going to be like, I just got up here because my friends told me I was funny, and they're going to be half drunk and they're going to be annoying. But I would say like just give yourself a little bit of time to feel confident enough. Don't just like go in guns blazing, because you're probably going to bomb and you're going to not be happy about it. And that's okay. It's okay to bomb. We all bomb. But the first time, you want to know at least you tried before you bombed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is your worst bomb so far?
Oh, my God.
Take a sip of water.
I know.
The trauma
I'm like,
set in.
So I have a joke about it, but I won't tell the joke. It's just a story about how when I was still living in Orlando, I got hired to perform at like a music festival, or like it was weird. It was like a music festival. It was like a women's surf competition. It was this thing, and it was in Jacksonville where I started comedy. And it was cool because like I was recommended by the Orlando Improv, which at the time I was working at, and it was like a big deal because it was a female oriented event and they wanted a female comedian. So they're like, oh, Morgan Gallo. But I didn't know until I talked to the guy that I would be opening for Smash Mouth. And I think Smash Mouth they have cool music. That lead singer was a douchebag, but like I was like, ooh, this is going to be so cool. And I like told my dad about it. I was like, this is going to be sick. And it turned out to be that they wanted me to do comedy like in between the bands. And it was at an outdoor, it was at a huge amphitheater, like at night with like 6,000 people.
How long you been doing comedy?
I had been doing comedy 2 years at that point. And so I had 10 minutes. Like I was like, I can do it. But I guess I knew that live music and comedy didn't go well together. Like I knew that. But I had also been doing a lot of open mics that were all arts open mics. And I was like, oh, I know what it's like to go after a guitar player. Like I'm going to kill it. But the audience, the people that come to watch Smash Mouth are not the same people that come to watch female comedy. And so I went on stage, and the producer like didn't tell me this until I was about to go on stage. They were sound checking all the instruments while I was doing my set. And he didn't tell me that was going to happen. And so I'm on stage and I'm like kind of just ripping through material because people are, it's an amphitheater, so they're like talking, they're getting drinks, like they're packing in to see Smash Mouth. They've been waiting 3 hours to see Smash Mouth. And so anyway, I'm on stage, I'm bombing. Gosh. There's like drums in the background going on. There's like a bass player trying to tune the fucking bass. And I got heckled really bad. There were a lot of men who were saying shit like women aren't funny, take your top off.
Oh my.
Like the types of heckles that like as a woman are like the worst case scenario. Like no one is respecting you at all. No one's laughing. People are looking at me like I am insane for being up there. And I'm realizing, yes, I am insane for doing this. And so, I ran off stage and I got booed by 6,000 people.
Oh my.
And I like locked myself in a utility closet, and I've never cried that hard in my life. Like that like hyperventilating where you can't even like be consoled, and I was like shaking. And it was so bad. And the worst part of it, which I don't tell on stage, but the worst part of it was like after that had happened, I didn't get paid for a week. And so I emailed the producer and I was like, hey, like, thanks so much for having me. Like, I was just trying to be polite. And I was like, I'd love to get the money or whatever.
Right.
And he gave me the money and he was like, here you go. And then he wrote this novel and he was like, to be frank, I'm very disappointed in your performance. It was so disrespectful how you started talking badly about the venue when your set went south. And what he means by me talking about the venue was I started bombing and I was like, you guys love how they booked a female comic for this amphitheater and clearly none of you give a shit. Like I started doing that comic thing where I was like, obviously this is a bad show.
Right.
And so he was upset that I was acknowledging that. And he also was like, I didn't appreciate how raunchy you were, which was weird because when he booked me, I asked him if he wanted me to be clean. And he said, no, we've seen all your material online. You're fine. And all the material I did on stage was material I had done online. Mm-hmm. And so he sent me he like ripped me apart in this email. So I replied and I was like, since we're being frank, you put me in a terrible fucking position. Like you did not do anything to give me respect on that stage. You were sound checking. You didn't give me any direction on what I was supposed to do. You bogged on my material when you told me it was fine. And I basically told him like, please do not put another comedian in this position. If you keep doing this festival, do not book a comedian because you are making it so difficult for us when we deserve to have a good time. And then I just had to get yelled at by men. So it was really bad. And it took me so long to get over it that I only wrote about it and started talking about it on stage like 2 months ago. And that was a year and a half ago.
It doesn't sound like you are over it. It sounds.
I think I'm over it in the way that like I realize how funny it is, and when I tell the
Gotcha.
story, like I have fun telling it because I recognize how insane of a gig that was.
Mm-hmm.
But I do sometimes kind of get like irked by producers that book comedians and they don't have any knowledge of what it takes to create a good comedy environment, and then they get mad at the comedian for not doing their job,
Right.
when it's like, no, but you didn't set the stage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like telling a Zamboni driver to go out and Zamboni the beach. Like it doesn't make any sense, and he's gonna just fuck up his machine. Like, that's such a dumb comparison. I'm so sorry.
No, that is the perfect comparison.
You know what I mean?
It's so
like I
perfect.
can't do comedy with a bunch of like drunk Smash Mouth fans
Yeah.
that are like,
I mean, outdoors is a nightmare. If it's not set up for comedy, outdoors is a nightmare in general. Like, comedy has very few parameters for it to go well.
yeah,
And that, drunk Smash Mouth fans.
yeah.
Did you have to go back up in between bands or anything like that?
No, it was just
So
it was
that
just
one
like right
opening thing.
before Smash. It was like all the bands had gone on.
Okay.
The last band got off. They were like, all right, we're gonna have someone before Smash Mouth comes on. And I like made fun of that too. I was like, you guys are just here to see the Shrek soundtrack. Like, you're not here to see this
Hilarious.
comic.
Oh
And
my
when I tell you I ran out of that venue after I got out of the utility closet, mascara running down my face. I didn't even get to see Smash Mouth. I didn't even get to sing All Star. And so I ran out of the venue and like called my boyfriend and cried the whole way home to him. It was horrible. Yeah.
That's one of the best. I always ask the guests on here their worst bombs. That's one of the best.
Really?
I've heard. Oh
God.
my god.
The worst part is like, I kind of like Smash Mouth. Like, I kind of like their music in a very weird way. And every time I hear it, I think about that. And now I laugh. But for a while, I like could not listen to it. And every time I tell that story, I love when the sound guy is smart. And after I tell that story, he plays All Star. Like, I think that's so
Hilarious.
funny.
I'm just picturing you crying in the utility closet with All Star playing. Like,
Yeah.
I was gonna be an All Star.
Yeah.
Because it's
yeah.
like, comedy is so funny with like, it'll set you up with this high,
Mm-hmm.
and then just around the corner, a lot of times, comedy will just be like, not yet, and then just like
Yeah.
a low, like there's something to cancel it out.
Yeah.
Not to say to expect it, but I've had so many experiences of, like, I do a 7 o'clock show, everything kills.
Oh, God.
The 9
yeah.
o'clock show, I do the exact same show, crickets. Like,
Yep,
and
yep.
you're high from that show, and then there's that low after. It's just part of that
Yeah.
roller coaster.
I'm still, one of the things that I think still makes me a 3-year comedian is my inability to calm down after I bomb. I still get very emotional and I still get very angry with myself and I get really embarrassed. And so a lot of the time, like if I bomb and I'm on a showcase, I'll just like leave the venue and
yeah,
I'll
me
just
too.
Irish goodbye everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to get better at that because no one cares. Like, comedians genuinely don't give a shit. They're just like, yeah, dude, I bombed yesterday too. Like, but I get so embarrassed because I have this idea that I have to do well, especially because I'll be honest, like having a lot of followers, I think makes me nervous because people who haven't met me yet, they see that I have followers and they're like, oh, she must be great. And then if I bomb, I'm like, oh, God, that was really disappointing. And I would like to get better at that. So I think that's something that comes with time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it took me years to get better at bouncing back from bombs and things like that. I would, if my opening joke didn't work early on, I would bail on the set and I'd be like, oh, I guess this whole thing's going to suck. And I would turn around and start rubbing the walls and I would roll around on the floor. I did weird stuff when jokes weren't working and just completely bail. And then afterwards I would be depressed for like a long time just after a bomb. Then over time you just realize, focus on what you can control. Get back on stage, just do your best on that show. It's just getting back on the horse really helps to bounce back. But it took me years to really overcome just feeling bad about bombing and that lingering.
Yeah.
I'll have to catch myself now. I mean, I had a killer show last weekend, and then last night, the show went well. People came up afterwards and are like, that was amazing. Thank you for coming and all of that. Like, the show was great. But you can feel a difference when you're not in the zone or you're not just humming. And I was like, oh, that should have been better. And then I had to just remind myself, it was fine.
Yeah.
Not every show is going to be a grand slam. You made money. People were happy. Just be grateful for what is and not worrying about what isn't or what you could change, and just focus on continuing to move forward.
Yeah.
But
Plus
we all go through that at every level.
Yeah, there's so many like people that still bomb that are amazing and like sell out arenas.
Yep.
And like, yeah, like that's like part of it.
Yep.
I used to think that it was so bad to bomb because what if someone saw me bomb and then later on the internet they were like, I saw Morgan Gallo live and she actually sucked. And then I was like, oh my God, like what if people online start talking about me and then like people don't come to my shows because they think I bombed? And then I was like, no one does that, first of all. And second of all, people who actually watch comedy consistently understand that that's part of it. And they like seeing comedians not do well because it humanizes them.
Yep.
Like we have a new material show that we do at the studio, these 3 Denver comedians who run it. And it's called Old Dogs, New Jokes because they book comedians who are working. And they're like, hey, since you're working so much, instead of doing an open mic, come and do an actual show. But we book it as a new material show. So the audience knows what they're in for. And sometimes people do really well with new jokes and sometimes they bomb. But that's like part of the fun of it.
Yeah.
Is they get to be like, all right, well, I tried. You guys didn't like it. Thanks for the feedback. So
I need to get out there. I haven't been to Denver
it's
yet.
so fun.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I got to get out there.
Yeah, Denver has a lot of great clubs and a lot of great comic run venues that are so awesome and just like really keen on making a good comedy environment because so many people there are working really hard and are on the road and are either opening for big people or are their own nationally touring headliners. And it's a great like through city. Like there's a lot of people from LA that come through there, Portland, New York, even just kind of the Midwest area. People come through there a lot on their way down. Like it's just a cool scene.
Oh, well, yeah, maybe we'll make something happen this year, perhaps. Make a trip out there. Cool. Well, I mean, is there anything else you want the world to know or anything? I think we're landing the plane here. I mean, the bombing story really just...
I know. Where do you go from there,
I love it. I love just the arc of us was 3 years in and you have over 100,000 followers and you have this studio in Denver and it's so amazing. And then by the end of the interview, I bombed opening for Smash Mouth.
Yeah.
I've cried harder than I ever have.
That's how you know you're doing well is when you get asked to do an insane gig, you say yes out of your own hubris, and then you realize, oh, that was a bad idea. No, I would just say like to the people listening, if I could talk to myself 3 years ago and I was listening to this type of episode, I would just say like take a breath and just like know that this is a marathon. And that you might be in mile 1 right now, you might be in mile 14, you might be in mile 3, and your pace now does not determine where you end up at the finish line. Yep. Like if you need a break, take a break. If you need to grind for a few months, grind for a few months. If you need to go a completely different detour and then come back to the race path, like that's okay because no one is like measuring your success. Like no one's looking at you and being like, all right, they're 5 years in, they've gone this far, they have these things. Like comparison is the thief of joy. So even though it's very hard not to compare yourself, especially when you see people who you've started out with them and now they're getting bigger than you are, or maybe you're getting bigger than they are, like there's room for all of us. There's so many comedy clubs, there's so many festivals, there's so many opportunities. There is truly room for every single one of us, and it doesn't need to be like a competition.
Preach.
Yeah.
Preach. Well, where can people follow you and check out Dude IDK?
Dude IDK, yeah, Dude 1DK on Instagram, that's us. And then dudeidkcreative.com. We have all of our shows and stuff on there. And then I'm just Morgan Gallo Comedy on pretty much everything. And yeah, I have my website. I have my dates up. Yeah, I don't know when this is coming out, so I don't really have any dates to push, I guess. But I'm around. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I'm driving in my Toyota all across the place. And I'm hoping to start doing another podcast or another show or something soon. Or if you're a weirdo, subscribe to my OnlyFans.
Oh, snap. Oh, is there weird stuff going on in there?
No,
You said if you're a weirdo. The people who subscribe are weirdos. You're not a weirdo in there.
No,
Oh.
no.
What are you doing in there?
I just have, honestly, like boudoir photos. I don't do any videos. I don't talk to people. I don't have nudity.
I was hoping you were like, I'm just posting crowd work clips and people are subscribing
No,
to
I'm like fully in it, dude. I'm like fully doing
You're like
it.
in lingerie doing crowd work clips. That's
I
your
should,
OnlyFans?
dude. I should do that. I should do that, honestly. No, it's just if you want to see me in a light that you don't see me on Instagram, it's on there. You know, it's to me, I think it's fine because it's like they're just like cute photos. A lot of people are like, what happens if you get famous and these photos get leaked? And I'm like, oh no, a really hot photo of me is on the internet? That would suck. It's like, you can't see anything. It's like I'm wearing a bikini. Like you see that at the beach for free. So might as well pay $10.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Give her $10, and while you're at it, go join our Patreon as well and keep supporting this.
Yeah, Joel
free
wears
comedy.
his boxers on the Patreon.
Yeah,
he does
that's
crowd
right.
work in his boxers. Sometimes compression shorts if you're lucky. So.
Not a bad idea. Tommy John, let's get a deal going. But thanks for being on Hot Breath, Morgan.
Thanks
Gallo.
for having me. I appreciate, dude.
Yeah, of course. So subscribe to our YouTube channel as well while you're at it.
And go to the writing room, seriously. If you
Our
wanna,
Facebook
like,
group,
write,
the
do
Comedy
it.
Writing Room. We do a daily joke writing contest in there, and people are asking questions in there. So it's a great online community for comics to connect and get better together. All linked in the description.
Cool.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Nice job.
Thanks, man. That was fun.